Welcome to Modern Mystic Messages. I'm Teresa, and I do want to thank you for stopping by and clicking on the video today. If this is your first time here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back, Soul Family. In either event, I'm happy that you're here. Uh, Today, I want to talk about something that's kind of been on my mind all day. In fact, yeah, I can say that. It hasn't really had me tied up in a bad place. It just had me in my head a bit today. And it reminded me of part of the reading I did yesterday for the collective. So I definitely wanted to address it in case somebody else is going through this too. We've been seeing the theme of needing to let go of people, and like the first card out in the reading I did last night talked about external parties and needing to make a decision. And oftentimes that's very easy to see. I mean, like the really, really scathing toxic folks that are really causing you that heart wrenching pain, those are super easy to see and super comfortable. The one that I want to talk about today is what I kind of call the undercover toxics. Because honestly, in some ways, they can be just as insidious, if not more so. You know? When we're going through closing out certain karmic cycles, there's certain things you're not supposed to put up with. You're not supposed to put up with people cheating on you and beating you and financial abuse and those kinds of things. That's really easy to see up front. It's in your face. So you have to address it sooner rather than later in a healing cycle. But today I had to come to terms with ending a friendship, formally, I should say, ending a friendship that I know truthfully I probably should have ended a while back. And it wasn't an obvious thing from outward appearances because somebody I don't talk to on a regular basis. And people can always say, oh, it doesn't matter how much time and space go by and we get back together, we know our friendship is solid. And to some degree, that's true. I do have some friends that are like that. We really don't have a real expectation of speaking on a real regular basis. And honestly, it's not a super close friendship. We may speak to each other every 3 or 4 months, and that's perfectly fine, chat buddies or whatever. But I'm not talking about that. I had a friend that when we first became friends, the way I don't want to say love bombing because I honestly believe that the people were sincere. But when I met her, in fact, I met her in 2021 around solstice time, shortly after that. I met her through a mutual acquaintance. And that winter, or no, it was in 2020. The winter of 2020, that solstice when we had a double conjunction and all of that, around that same time, around solstice, I met three people came into my life in rapid fire succession. Actually, four came into my life within a few days of winter solstice around December 21st. Between the 21st and the 25th, four people came into my life. Well, one of them was somebody that was reintroduced into my life. Spirit just really put it in my head and heart to reach out to someone that I had met a few years prior and really thought I kind of clicked with. I met this lady while I was working. Um, a, in fact, it was some kind of I think it was a pride fair or something in downtown by the wharf or whatever. And the company that I was working for is a boutique travel agency, and we had a booth out there, and me and another lady were working that event. And during the course of that, I met this older lady, and we really kind of hit it off and went and talked about a lot because she was supposed to be on a really spiritual path and all of that and blah blah blah. So um we had a couple really cool conversations. In fact, at the time, now mind you, I was still at the time when I understood something was happening spiritually, but I wasn't really sure what. And I had no clue about the whole Christianity thing yet. So she introduced me to the Unity congregation in Sarasota. I went there, had a lovely time, met a lot of the folks there, and that felt kind of good. And I was still in a very fragile place, so I'm not going to say it wasn't any benefit at all. But I met this other third party through this lady um, after we reconnected, because we met like in 2017, 2018, and then fell off of communication, but it got pushed back into my mind to reconnect with this lady around December-ish of 2020. And I did. And in reacquainting with her, she had moved back into the area at that time, and I met her mutual friend, and everything was lovely for a moment. Well, I didn't realize, but I was being shown some things up close and personal that I needed to address and deal with, patterns that had been in my life, and so, patterns with certain people and all. So rather rapidly, the one that I had initially connected with really showed her hand, and I realized that I, in dealing with the cycles of narcissism and things like that, and again, I don't throw the word narcissist around lightly, but this lady was a self-proclaimed narcissist, super aggressive, super masculine, lesbian female that liked to play head games with people and all of that. So it did not take me very long at all to realize, oops, I realized why she was brought in my face. Some people are blessings and some people are lessons, and she was definitely in the lesson category. So I peeled back from her, but her friend I had really struck it up a friendship with, and I realized later, even we've talked about it. I was introduced back into that lady's life not to connect with her, but to connect with her friend, because she was so under the thumb of, and she really wasn't all that happy. Very quiet, very shy lady being seriously manipulated by this narcissistic lady. And I helped her see it, and we became friends. And she said at the time that she had kind of peeled back from her, and it was cool, and we were really close for a while, and we were talking about starting a business together and traveling together, and everything was lovely. And she just, for a few years it was fine. And then I started noticing that a lot of her conversations, she was starting to spiral off into, her anxiety was out of control and spiraling off into reconnecting with a lot of super toxic friends. She was upset about it and would call and kind of sort of vent to me about it. Or she'd be telling me certain things, and I'd kind of call out that that's not really a healthy relationship dynamic, but she would very much defend it and want to keep those people in her life. So as she fought to keep those toxic people around her, she and I naturally started kind of peeling away a little bit. But she was still, we're still friends, we're still cool. You want to do the retreat business together, and we still want to travel together, and blah, blah, blah. And again, I wasn't trying to make waves, so I was just kind of going along with it. But I was noticing we really aren't talking anymore. And the only times we were really talking is if, truthfully, if she wanted to call, and I don't even want to call it trauma dumping, but to some degree, if she was feeling some type of way, if and when she had it on her mind or was in the mood to talk, then she would call or respond to a call. So I knew she's an older lady, and she was starting to have some health challenges. So every now and then, I wasn't hounding her phone or anything, but somebody gets on your mind, especially with me being an empath. When somebody gets on my mind, I try to reach out. I'd reach out, call, get no answer, no text response, no nothing. A few days later, I call again, no answer, no text. And this would go on for months. I would literally like make 8 to 10 call attempts, And I'm not saying, because I'm not a person that's going to call you every day back to back to back to back. Unless, now, with my kids, they know if I call you twice back to back, and God forbid, if I call you 3 times back to back, please answer the phone because it's an emergency. That's our signal. But other than that, just trying to call a friend, if I make an attempt to call them and it's not a life or death emergency, if they don't answer the phone, that's it. That's my attempt for that day. I might try again tomorrow. It might be 2 or 3 days from now. But I didn't want to be pushy, so I wasn't calling daily, and that was fine. And now mind you, at this point, a couple more years have gone by, and now at first she was still working, even though she's in her 70s. But recently, in the past 6 or 8 months, due to her health issues and other things going on, we have spoken once, I think, this year, maybe twice this year. But she let me know she's no longer working. And I still wasn't pushing the envelope as far as like in her face all the time, because I get it, people are busy. When we get to talking, we really do click usually, and it winds up being a lengthy conversation. So if you don't have 30 minutes to chit chat or whatever, I get that part. But the last month or two, I've been making a concerted effort to reach out to her. One, I was concerned with what was going on with her health. And I was kind of want to talk about some of the things that are trying, starting to happen in my life and whatnot, and just wanting to run a few things by her, see where she was still at with the business ideas and whatnot. But she won't answer her phone. It keeps going to voicemail. I'm not getting any kind of text response. She's not answering the phone. But after you've had a friend, someone that you claim you love, if a friend, if you happen to look at your call log and see that a friend has called you 8, 9, 10 times over the past couple of months and you haven't responded once, don't you think at some point in that, all of that, that you might be able to squeeze out a text or a call or something within 2 months? But yet, today, I get a phone call, and again, I'm gonna call. I'm gonna blame the Kazemi. Like JB said, blame it on the alcohol. I'm gonna blame it on the astrology today, because I was just at a point where I'm like, you know what? I know my worth, and why am I trying to hold on to a friendship for somebody that obviously doesn't have that same level of concern for me? So the past few days, I would say probably every day for the past week, I've made, well, not maybe not every day. I might have missed a day or two in there, but I know at least every other day for the past week and a half or so, I've made an attempt to call her. Again, she's not working anywhere. I'm not calling super early in the day. I'm not calling super late. For example, today we're both in the Eastern time zone. I called her at like 11:30 in the morning today, and I get, can I call you back, as a text. Now, that's the first time she's responded at all to any of my texts in the past 2 or 3 months. So, and then, that's the little generic when you get ready to decline and it says, can I call you back? So I texted. And again, I know it was a little extra, but I'm tired. I'm full at this point. So I said, well, if you can manage to call or text me back sometime this weekend, then yes, by all means. But if you can't manage to respond, because in the past I've gotten, can I call you back from her too, and don't get no response. So I was like, if you can't bother to squeeze out a little bit of time to respond to me sometime this weekend, you don't have to bother about calling me back. I'll be all right. We're good. And she had the nerve to go and gaslight me and text me back this whole thing about how she's got this going on now. Mind you, she couldn't today. Her reason was because she's got a friend that just got a very unfavorable diagnosis of something that they've got going on health wise, so she has to be there for them. That's all well and good, but what about them other 3 4 months? You just got that diagnosis from your friend. I was just at a point that I'm not trying to hear that. because I've gotten those kind of responses before. She's literally called me on more than one occasion, called me, and when I answer the phone, busy telling me about how she's busy doing this or that or the other with this friend or that whatever, getting ready to go here or go there with this. She don't have time to talk right now, but she just wanted to let me know that I was on her mind and she called me later. You gonna call me to tell me you don't have time to talk to me? So, but you letting me know how busy you are and how active you are with all the people that are actually important to you. See what I mean? There's more than one way to look at something. Now, this person is sitting here, has gaslit herself enough to gaslight me or attempt to gaslight me, to say she values my friendship and considers me important, but she's just got more important things going on right now, and I should just understand that. But you could call me to tell me all of the things you're doing. And again, I'm not talking about this friend with the health situation. I'm not that cold and petty. If that was the only incident, of course I would have patience for that. But how are you gonna call me and tell me you getting ready to go over to this birthday party and that something, and this over here at the jazz club and this one over here going here and you going this one? All of these things you're doing, but you don't have time to spend 5 minutes on the phone with me, but yet you want me to believe you value our friendship. No, you don't. You absolutely do not. You only value our friendship when you want to get something off your chest, because I'm a compassionate person and a good listener and a sounding board, and I always have good information and insights and wisdom. Now, these are the things she's telling me. This ain't what I'm bragging. I'm not bragging on myself. Those are the things that she's told me over time. So, of course, when she needs someone to play armchair psychologist, basically, here it is, but not actually enough to give me the decency or the respect of even returning a phone call for months on end and still want me to believe that that friendship is valuable. That's toxic, people. That's not somebody you need in your life, because the thing is, if you allow someone to devalue you like that, in time you begin to devalue yourself, because you're accepting that from them people. They've convinced you that their friendship is so valuable that you're supposed to sit back and wait for whatever crumbs they hand to you. No, you're not. Please do not put yourself in that position. I allowed it to happen because I just didn't want to have the confrontation of telling her, I'll finish clearing your dance card for you. Since you're so busy and you don't have time, then you really don't have time for our friendship. And that's real, because at the end of the day, now, granted, if you genuinely don't care one way or the other, and it don't make you feel no type of way to constantly be ignored or have your calls swiped to ignore, then by all means go ahead. But at the back of your head, if it makes you feel some type of way, as it should, don't let nobody do you like that. You're worth more than that. And you must know that you're worth more than that. And those people know it too, because if they didn't, they wouldn't bother to call or respond at all. They call you when they want something. Oh, yeah, they'll manage to call you once or twice a year just to make sure that you'll still respond to them when they need something. And I'm going to tell you how you can test it. Our conversations with me and this lady used to be a fair exchange, a back and forth. But I started noticing, number one, she was using the excuse that our conversations would go on too long. That was why she didn't want to call, because she didn't have time to talk. So I deliberately started shortening my part of the conversation to see what will happen when she called. How you doing? Da 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 da. And I give her a very abbreviated version of what was going on in my life. Talk to her for 4 or 5 minutes that way, let her know the latest and greatest with me. And then before she could get an opportunity to say anything about the time, I would jump in with, well, that's enough about me. What's going on with you? And at that point, she's off to the races. So however long the phone call goes at that point is because that's where you choose to take it. So if you're still being allowed to be that sounding board, and again, pay attention when that happens. How many times do they allow you to, like I say, bring it back to a subject where you can lend to the conversation as well? Or does it just become the them show? Right? When you notice that your friendship has become super one-sided and you're either playing armchair psychologist and they're trauma dumping on you, or they're only using you as a sounding board when they want to brag to you about whatever, or they, like I said, just wanting to talk about themselves and you really are kind of getting squeezed out of the conversation, that's not really a genuine friend. They may think they are, they don't understand how to be, and it's not something you have to continue to put up with. I know we were looking at that reading last night, and it was talking about family and relationships and reconciling with people and all that. But make sure it's something worth reconciling with. Don't keep putting up with nonsense just because, just so you can still have somebody as a contact in your phone. Because when you allow that, it will begin to chip at your psyche and your sense of self-worth. You deserve to have people in your life that value you as much as you value them. A true reciprocal relationship, whether it's romantic or otherwise. You deserve to have people that care enough about you that they're willing to carve out 5, 10, 15 minutes once, twice, whatever, every other, whenever y'all's call pattern is, that they're willing to carve out on some amount of time. Because I don't care who you are, ain't nobody on this planet so busy that they can't find 5 minutes for an actual friend sometime within a 3 month span of time. That's nonsense. No one is that busy. The president of the United States is not that busy. And don't you ever let anybody tell you otherwise. And if they attempt to tell you that they're too busy for you, then understand that they are too busy for your friendship. Your friendship is worth more than that. Don't allow these people to discount your stuff and stomp on your value. So yeah, I had to let that one go. And it just took me some time to process it and think about it. Like I said, we've been friends for like 5 years now, and I don't have many left. Like I say, my Rolodex is real naked, and I'm not even mad about that. But it is nice to be able to pick up the phone and call somebody, especially a female friend, from time to time. I've got one left at this point, and she works a full time job, and she lives in another state. So we talk maybe once on the weekends or whatever, and I can text her and stuff, but I was hoping I'd keep another friend, but like I say, a fair weather friend ain't one I need. And it ain't one you need either. And I just wanted to, like I said, I've gone on a bit about that, but I really wanted to get that because I understand what it's like when you're closing out these cycles and people are trying to convince you that they should stay when they really need to go. And even our own sense of trying to hold on to some kind of a semblance of normalcy will tempt us to hold on to people that we really should let go of. It's okay. Let them go. Because they just hold in space. Like I said, they placeholders. Anyway, they've put you in the position of being a placeholder. And baby doll, you are far too beautiful, brilliant, and amazing to just be anybody's placeholder. No, no, you are you chosen. You're not a placeholder. You're special, and don't you damn well forget it. I'm gonna let that one go now, and we're gonna get on to some other things. I did have I've got a question that I wanted to address that one of the Soul Tribe members brought up. It was a beautiful, brilliant question, and I do want to address it, but I'm gonna do it on a separate video because I've gone on a little long on this one. So do look for that. We will have an Emerald Tablets reading this evening, a little bit later, I believe. Depending on, it's getting late in the evening, I might still do that, but there will not be a tarot reading until tomorrow. I'll probably get 2 readings out tomorrow, and then we'll get back on schedule a little bit later in the week. But in any event, family, I love you. Thank you so much for allowing me a little bit of time to. I wasn't trying to trauma dump again. It wasn't even really trauma for me, but because I know it did have me in my head a little bit, I was like, you know what? Maybe somebody else is kind of going through this too, because we are closing out some cycles. So let me go ahead and address it. I hope it gave you some benefit. If it did, please give the video a thumbs up. And until next time, family, peace and blessings to you. I love you. Namaste.